My name is Paula Quinton, and I'm the Vice Chair of the East Brunswick Human Relations Council, an organization that I'm so proud to be associated with, and of course to be associated with this annual event. It's our 7th annual walk. But some of you who are stalwarts of our walk would know that this is the first time we're trying this in the spring. So 6 were done in the fall, including 2 virtual programs that went over very, very well. And we're trying it in the spring. And the fact that you're here is testimony to the fact that it's working. Okay, so hope to see you next year at this event. But before I go further, I'd like to call to the lectern our chair, Aram Shakir.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 7th annual walk, as Paula said. My name is Aram Shakir, and I chair the East Brunswick Human Relations Council. The council holds this yearly walk to bring everyone together in a public demonstration of unity and solidarity. We live in such a wonderful town defined by diversity and an integration of cultures and ethnicities. Our neighbors, friends, and colleagues are people from all corners of the world, and we host this event to highlight that. A little bit about our council. We at EBHRC believe that building bridges between cultures and communities create a more innovative and collaborative and inspired world. Goal of our council is to foster goodwill, cooperation, and conciliation among the diverse cultures represented within the East Brunswick Township through the community efforts and other means. What do? Well, we host Unity Walk. We have like a Diversity Rocks project. We co-sponsor events with the East Brunswick Library. We try to post all cultural holidays on our Facebook page, so please follow us on Facebook. And we also try to host events that highlight other cultures and other ethnicities. Without further ado, I'd like to call upon Paula, my co-chair for this event, who did an amazing job with this program tonight. Paula?
It's a pleasure to co-chair this event with Aram and of course the members of our council, including several students who are standing over there. Please give them a round of applause. Our East Brunswick High School, East Brunswick Public School System, of course, Dr. Valesky is here to attest to the wonderful education and the sense of community that I think this township inspires. So thank you to our students. One of them is a senior graduating, and we're already crying in our beer. Oh, I shouldn't say beer, should I? It's family friendly, but I'm crying. But also I'd like to thank my fellow members, the adult members of the council who are here, and you'll hear a little bit more from some of them later. But before we go further, we must have our Pledge of Allegiance and our scouts, multiple troops and packs, led by our VFW and Tommy Kuhil and his companion. We will now do the Pledge of Allegiance together.
Present arms, pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms!
Thank you so much, and it's my pleasure to call upon another product of East Brunswick school system, 7th grader Naomi Eisenkramer, to do the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose brush
know about you, but it's hard to follow that. Please, let's get some more energy for this young lady. What a fantastic job. Wonderful. We're moving along very, very quickly with our program, and I'd like to invite some more students we will recite our community pledge, and they'll be speaking and then you repeat. So I guess it's like call and repeat if we're in church, right? I see our East Brunswick Interfaith Clergy Council here. Call and repeat, okay? Here they are.
As part of this diverse, multicultural community, I pledge to promote respect and understanding among members, irrespective of their choices, religion, and culture.
As part of this diverse, multicultural community, I pledge to promote respect and understanding among members, irrespective of their choices, religion, and culture.
I will embrace our similarities and differences through conversation and productive interchange.
I will embrace our similarities and differences through conversation and productive interchange.
I will demonstrate our commitment to preserve and promote unity in our community so that current and future generations can thrive in peace, both here and around the world.
I will demonstrate our commitment to preserve and promote unity in our community so that current and future generations can thrive in peace, both here and around the world.
Thank you so much. Please give our students a round of applause. A pairing, not necessarily in this order, Tiffany Flax, Tasneem Noor, Andrew Perez, and Vriti Gore. Thank you so much, students. They're a very valuable part of our council, and we're always grateful for their input. Now it's my pleasure to introduce to you someone who really needs no introduction. So they say short and sweet. I welcome Dr. Brad Cohen, Mayor of East Brunswick.
Thank you, Paula. Before I speak, I just think that I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I actually think that we're very lucky that we have such wonderful weather for tonight, because that's always something that we worry about before we get this started. I do also want to point out some very important people who are here this evening. In the back, Council President Kevin McAvoy, Councilman Dinesh Bahal, Councilwoman Dana Winston, and we have in the very back our Business Administrator Joseph Crisculo and our Economic Development Officer Robert Zuckerman. So what are we here for today? We're here because we want to talk about unity. And that is our focus for today. That has been my focus as mayor, to make sure that we promote what I believe is one of our most important qualities here in the township, and that is the diversity of our community. And I consider it to be a major accomplishment that everybody is represented on boards and commissions and has a say in the township, because it can't be something that's just done by one group. It has to represent a collection of everybody, and that's what we have here. But what I can't help but noticing is that we're all happy about the diversity and the unity that we have here. We live in a world that in reality couldn't be any more disunity than I ever recall, frankly, in my memory. And that's in sharp contrast, in all honesty, to what we see here in East Brunswick. And it hasn't always been that way. Unfortunately, we seem to come together as a nation in times of crises. Whether it was 9/11 or the assassination of JFK and RFK and Martin Luther King, Pearl Harbor, which probably not, most of you were around when that happened, but these were all times when our country was in a crisis. It could have been school shootings, it could have been major weather events like Katrina, but whenever we seem to be in a disaster, that's what seems to bring us together and bonds us in unity as a country, which causes concern, because when that goes away and when those wounds heal, we seem to go back to what we are as a nation, which is to seem to fall apart. We are It's in our DNA as Americans to be rugged individuals. It's what made us successful. It's what allowed us to win a war against overwhelming odds to form a country to begin with. It's what made us great innovators in the world because we think outside of the box. We don't always follow the rules. It's what's made us successful. But it's also the source of disunity in this country at the same time. And I often get the opportunity, in fact today was one of them, where I get third graders that come up to the township as they learn about government. I speak to kids in the Scouts, I speak to kids in religious groups, I speak to kids that are all part of volunteer groups, and I talk to them about government. And the government in the United States is really an experiment in democracy. When it came into being, it was unique in world history. Most people had been ruled by dictatorships. Most people had been ruled by monarchies. America is a experiment in democracy. It can easily fail. And it depends upon us to teach that to our children. And we often like to blame Congress and our elected officials for the problems that we have in this country. But the reality is that we are a representative government. If you don't like what you see in Congress, then look in the mirror, because they're representatives of exactly the people that put them there. So if they're broken, if they're dysfunctional, then the reality is that we are too, because we put them there, and we can change that. We have to change that, because it's the next generation that, if they continue to see the disunity and the dysfunction in government, they believe that that's normal. And that begins to unravel this experiment in democracy that's lasted for 2.5 centuries. We don't want that to go away. And so I always tell people who love to come to me and be critical that if you want to be critical, you have the right to do that, but have a solution, have a plan, have ideas of things that you think that we should be doing better. Well, I don't think that any of us have broken and have all the good ideas. There's other people that are out there. Let's share them. So there are things that I think we could be doing so that we can heal ourselves. And they start with things such as turning off the 24-hour news cable network that seems to feed us information on a 24-hour schedule. I remember growing up that it was an hour of news at night, and either you went out and played with your friends or you listened to sitcoms, things such as All in the Family and The Cosby Show, and things that really spoke to us about us as Americans. And we poked fun at people that were bigots, but yet you liked them at the end of the day. We learned how to compromise, how to be moderates, and to be able to work with one another even if we didn't always agree. The other thing that we need to get back to is family dinners, which is something that for a very short time during the lockdown and COVID, we actually did go back to doing. When you could sit at the table, no devices. I can't tell you the number of times I go to restaurants and I see parents have these stupid iPads in front of their kids, and all night long all they do is watch the iPad. Put that away. Have conversations, talk to one another, talk about current events, talk about what went on during your day, talk about things that matter to you. Have conversations. We've moved away from that. The other thing we need to do is start to limit the devices. We get all our information these days from social media, which is, last time I checked, not a great way of getting information, and it's actually filled mostly with disinformation. And finally, I think we need to get back to volunteerism. And there's many ways that you could do that. Look right over here, we have Scouts. Scouting is a great way of learning about volunteerism and leadership and how to take charge and to live and be able to grow with the sense that you have a responsibility. We could join social organizations. I look around at Elks and the Knights of Columbus and things like the Rotary, which are having dwindling numbers of members. Go back to some of these volunteer organizations that give back to communities. Labor unions, which support workers and give people an honest and equal opportunity to be represented with employers. Over the last decades, that's dwindled. We could join youth organizations. Peace Corps could be resurrected and start giving your time to people who are so much less fortunate than we are. And military service. Let's have a round of applause for people who are willing to put their lives on the line to protect the country that we say we value so much. Alexander the Great once said that remember upon the conduct of each depends the fate of all. So we always have had the ability to solve our problems, to put ourselves back on a place where we are together and unified as a culture. It's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. She didn't need the ruby slippers. What she had all along was the ability to go home. We have the ability to fix everything that's wrong here. We can do that. And when we do, and when we work on this together, we become the model of unity in a community, something that we say we stand for. We could be the model of what that actually looks like on a national stage. So I implore all of you to do your part. So thank you very, very much for being here today and being part of what's right about this community.
Thank you so much, Mayor Cohen, and I know I speak for my colleagues in saying that we are very proud to support your aspirations for this town. We believe that East Brunswick Human Relations Council is a reflection of that aspiration, and we continue to pledge to you and the community to work hard to try to close the gap in areas of need. And I'd like to say that there are several community partners with whom we try to achieve our vision. And one of them is the East Brunswick Public Library. And I want to thank EBPL's director, John Arthur, for being here, with whom we have always done collaborative programs. So thank you so much, Mayor Cohen, for giving us the opportunity to serve in this way. I'd like to quickly thank our students for having supplies on board for us to make banners. It's the first time we've done it, mini banners that is. And I'd like to recognize very quickly those who came with their banners: East Brunswick Interfaith Clergy Council, Vibrant Church, Moms Club, the Youth Council. I see East Brunswick Women's Club. I see the troops, of course. There are several troops here, and of course we'll have a wrap-up on all of those who are going to be participating. But it's my pleasure to move towards greetings so that you can hear from several partners. They bring greetings to you, and I start with the East Brunswick Board of Education member who will be replacing Lori Lax, who is the chair. I welcome Barbara Reese.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lori is so sorry she couldn't be here tonight. She had a conflicting event. But thank you for this honor to represent the Board of Education tonight at this important community event. Congratulations to the EBHRC and on this wonderful opportunity, the Unity Walk, to Aram Shakir and the Vice Chair Paula. Oh, there you are. The Mayor and the Council. The East Brunswick School District supports your efforts. Unity through diversity, providing our students with events and activities that welcome students to support one another. Whether it be the international nights at the elementary schools where students prepare food, wear clothing, and develop displays that feature their heritage, or at the high school where students participate in events that showcase the many cultures of East Brunswick High School. We are proud to promote a school climate where diversity is celebrated. And if you look around here, thank you to all the students who are here. We're very blessed in so many different organizations. They really make everything so much better. We appreciate the wonderful work of the Human Relations Council, and we are thrilled. Dr. Valesky is here, and we are thrilled to be part of this special Unity Walk. Thank you very much.
And I must say that Barbara was our colleague for a number of years on the EBHRC, so it's like welcoming her home. Thank you so much, Barbara. It's my pleasure now to call on Dr. Victor Valesky. He's the superintendent of the East Brunswick Public Schools.
Thank you, Paula. Good evening, everyone. I want to give you a snapshot from my world. Unity is when you walk into a kindergarten class and see one student hugging another because they're having a bad day. It doesn't matter that they don't share the same culture ethnicity, race, or religion. Unity is when you see junior high school students fist pumping each other after successfully presenting a project they've been working on. They don't care that they have different cultures, ethnicities, races, and religions. Unity is in decision day at the high school when our graduating seniors wear apparel representing where they're headed next, whether it be college, military, and they can't get enough selfies of each other. They are thankful they came from a variety of cultures, ethnicities, races, and religions. They are better prepared for the world they are about to participate in. Tonight, we embrace those feelings captured by East Brunswick students along their educational journey, whether in classes, at an athletic competition, or a performance in the arts. And for us adults, let's remember when we were kids and all that mattered was we were humans sharing the same planet. Our kids are watching us. So tonight we walk in unity and let's show them how it's done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Valesky. I want to give a shout out to the Raritan Valley branch of the Alliance of Youth Leaders in the United States. Thank you so much for being here. And I know also the Formosa Association. I'm going to get this right because it's very important that we name things correctly. It's the Formosa Association of Student Cultural Ambassadors. I missed them as I did the sweep, so please give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful looking out here at this sea of banners and individuals. Thank you. It's my pleasure to call to the lectern Mohammed Hashmi, who is representing the Islamic Center of East Brunswick and the EB Interfaith Clergy Council.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. On behalf of East Brunswick Interfaith Clergy, I would like to welcome all to the 7th Annual Unity Walk. I am a member of a diverse community, and the Interfaith Clergy Council represents that community. We are a non-denominational and group of religious members who are striving to serve the community and to become an active member of the East Brunswick community. And I would like to say a short prayer. Let us pray silently together, each one of us, according to our individual beliefs. Let us offer thanks for our food, blessings for one another. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. And let us give gratitude for the opportunity to be a part of this vibrant community of East Brunswick. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mohammed Hashmi. And I'm delighted now to ask our guest speaker to join me here. I recognize a friend and a colleague, and I'm sad to say former member, but very recent former member of EBHRC. Though we've held her feet to the fire, she will continue to be a community member of the council, and she's also very, very recently a member of the East Brunswick Board of Education. My friend, my colleague, Susanna Chu.
Thank you, Paula, for that warm welcome, and good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be here today. When Aram and Paula asked me to speak this evening, I'm like, can't you find somebody more interesting to talk to you? But so here I am. I am really, really honored to be here. And I thought about what message I wanted to convey this evening to all of you, having attended many years and watched so many dynamic and wonderful speakers share their messages. So if I have one objective here today, and that is to express gratitude and appreciation for the people who form the ecosystem that we call a community, who are the upstanders, who support others and each other. So generally, for those of you who know me, I'm a rather private person. I prefer to stay low-key. I like to work in the background, supporting causes and issues that are important to me. But I'll open up a little here today and share a little piece of my personal story. My story is typical of many immigrants that come to this country. When I was 2 years old, my family immigrated to this country from Hong Kong, and my parents originally came from China. They did not speak English. They had 3 children in tow. We didn't have much, but we had each other. They worked long hours to support the family. I saw very little of my father. He didn't have a license, couldn't drive, so he had to stay in dormitories while he was working. And these dormitories were, not very fun places, but, it allowed him to work every day and earn a living for his family. And I remember my first day of school, hiding behind my older sister and my older brother, who I look up to tremendously, and just feeling overwhelmed. So not just a first day of school for any child, but a first day of school for someone who didn't understand English. My parents barely received grade school education, but they knew the value of education, and they impressed upon their children the importance of school. My grandmother always reminded me how lucky I was to be able to attend school. Everything she knew she had learned at home, very basic things, but she knew how to calculate interest in her bank account. She was very smart lady. Our family was typical of other immigrant families at the time. They uprooted their families from all that was familiar to them to look for better opportunities for their children. But they couldn't have done it without the help they received from others, friends, neighbors, and even strangers. People who helped my parents find work, who helped them translate documents, fill out forms, neighbors who offered rides to places that couldn't be reached by foot or bus. Every aspect of our lives that we take for granted now is a difficult task for non-English speaking immigrants. I wish I could go back in time to thank all the people who helped my parents and my family to get through those initial years as new immigrants. These are the issues I have chosen to dedicate my personal time to, and they all tie back to education, largely among 3 areas: adult literacy, cultural awareness, and public education. When I volunteered with an organization called Literacy Volunteers, we worked to support adult literacy, both for English speakers and for non-English speakers. You can appreciate the ability to read, write, and speak English when you have to sign papers for your children that they bring home from school. And my sister was the one that signed all the papers, but don't tell my teachers. And you're trying to communicate with a doctor on some medical emergency. You can't do the basics if you cannot speak English. You appreciate cultural awareness when you see children who feel isolated because they look different than everybody else, like I did when I was in grade school. Or when they bring in a lunch that just doesn't look familiar to other kids around them. I still remember my first friend in elementary school who made the extra effort to reach out and make me feel welcome. I don't know where she is now, but I'd love to thank her. I learned how our neighbors celebrated holidays as they welcomed us into their homes and shared their traditions with us, and likewise, we shared our Chinese family traditions with them. You're grateful for public education when you know there are 58 million primary school-age children worldwide who do not go to school. My work in these areas is my way of showing gratitude to everyone around us, to the community, the people that welcomed us, and everyone who helped make this a larger family. And so we were able to not just survive, but to thrive and to help pave a road that's a little bit better for the people that come after us. The lesson I learned from those early years, best gift you can ever give or receive, is education, awareness, and knowledge. So I sum it up here by saying that all of you here are part of that ecosystem called a community, filled with people who are engaged, who will step up and help their neighbors. Your presence here today is one way of showing how you are here to lend that hand to neighbors and friends and make them feel welcome. You are here to demonstrate the strength of unity in the community. And for that, I thank each and every one of you. Thank you.
And that's from a woman who said she's not a very good speaker. I found everything she said to be thoughtful, very introspective, and I think we need this kind of nourishing for the soul. So, folks, let's do something she doesn't like. We're going to put her in the hot seat again, put her in the spotlight, and give her a big round of applause. We're so proud of you. We love you, Susanna. We're almost at that point where you get to walk around the pond, which is exactly what you came here for, in addition to all the wonderful remarks, of course. So it is my pleasure to call on my colleague on the council, Ward Robinson, to do the acknowledgments, because as you know, we could not do this without partnership. So this is the last you'll hear from me. You'll hear from Ward, and soon thereafter, we'll start the walk.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to keep it short and simple so we can get to the walk. All right, first of all, we would like to thank Barbara Reese, Board of Education, Dr. Victor Valesky, Mohammed Hashmi. We're also going to thank everybody that played a role in getting all of this together. Mayor Cohen, Naomi Eisenkramer, Tommy Kuhill, the East Brunswick Boy Scouts Troop and Pack 109, 132, 223, and 501. John and the guys at the the Department of Recreation and Parks and Community Services. They are a big help to us. East Brunswick Arts Coalition, East Brunswick Board of Education, East Brunswick Interfaith Clergy Council, East Brunswick Public Schools, East Brunswick Youth Council, FedEx, and of course everyone that made banners. We appreciate you guys. And lastly, I want to thank Paula. Thank you, everybody, and Aram and East Brunswick Television. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Please give yourselves a round of applause.